Hi, I'm Esther from Loon Consulting, a recruiter here in New Zealand. I get asked on the daily basically about the right visa and how to enter New Zealand from people overseas. So instead of me trying to answer some of these tricky questions, I sat down with an immigration expert, Rachael Mason from Lane Neve. So in this video, she's going to tackle some of your really tricky questions in order for you guys to find the right way and the right visa to enter New Zealand and to work and thrive here. If you want to connect with us after this video, then please make some comments below or click the link to find out more.
So thanks for being here, Rachel. Are you able to tell us a bit about your background and the kind of clients that you usually help?
Yes, thanks for having me, Esther, and thanks everyone that's joining us today. As you've mentioned, I'm an immigration lawyer here in New Zealand, and I've been practicing in this area for many years now, helping people from all over the world, which has been really interesting and rewarding work. So we work with individuals and their families, anyone who's interested in living and working in New Zealand. We work with everyone from surgeons to office workers to tradespeople. We also help high net worth individuals who are looking at investing or buying businesses here. And we help people who are maybe married to a Kiwi or in a partnership with a Kiwi and need a partnership-based visa. So, and finally, we help employers. So often I'm working with employers who have people, perhaps like those of you listening to this today, who need to get visas, and I help that employer get the visa. So,
From your experience, what are the main reasons that people actually want to move to New Zealand?
Well, there's really wide-ranging reasons that people will tell us. Family connection, the stability of the New Zealand democratic society, natural beauty, and relatively environmentally clean and unpolluted. But I guess over good health and education systems we also hear. But I guess probably holistically, the common theme that comes through is just the ability to access a really good, healthy lifestyle. And that's really attractive to a lot of our clients.
Yeah, it's exactly what I hear as well. So in terms of getting into the nitty-gritty about the visa pathways, what are some of the main pathways that are available right now for migrants who want to live and work in New Zealand?
We tend to split the visa pathways into three main categories. So the first of those is you've got a family connection. That's an immediate family member who can sponsor you. So a partner or a parent, for example. Secondly, we have our investor and business visas, which is for people who are wanting to invest fairly significant amounts of money, typically from 1 to 10 million New Zealand dollars. And then the final category, and probably the most common category and most relevant to people listening to this call today, would be our employment-based visa categories. And so that's where you have a job offer from a New Zealand employer, and you can use that job offer as the underlying support for your visa application process.
Yeah, sure. So are you able to tell us a bit more about how a person who's interested in coming to New Zealand under the employment-based routes, how might they be able to get a visa?
Sure. So in New Zealand, we have two different classes of visa categories. We have a temporary visa category, which is the work visa, and it's like it says, it's temporary. And then we have our residence visas, and those are for longer term or permanent residence, enabling a person to stay here in New Zealand indefinitely. Often people will need to come on a temporary visa for some time before they can apply for residence, but there are situations where someone can be eligible for residence straight away. Now, most people, if you're looking at moving to New Zealand from the other side of the world, you're going to want to know that you do have a long-term path, not necessarily that you can apply for a residence visa straight away, but certainly that you could do that within a few years. Otherwise, it's a big risk to pack up your life and family and move down here if you don't have that long-term future. So we're always bearing that in mind. But coming back to your question, where do you start? The starting point is a job offer. Some people are lucky enough to get a job offer by applying from overseas. With the benefit of video conferencing and that type of thing. A lot of New Zealand employers will make job offers on that basis. But for many of our clients, we recommend that the way to give yourself the strongest opportunity to secure an offer is to actually make a visit to New Zealand and to spend time meeting with employers, getting to know the market here. And that tends to be the way that our applicants are most successful.
Yeah, sure. And then you can get a taste of the New Zealand life while you're at it. If they're lucky enough to get a job offer from a New Zealand employer, and the employer has then advised that now you need to go ahead and get a visa, what are the immediate sort of next steps that they need to follow?
Sure. So, in most cases, if you've received a job offer, the visa that you're going to be applying for is what we call the Accredited Employer Work Visa, or AEWV. This is the main work visa category. So most applicants are going to use this visa pathway. To qualify for this visa pathway, you can see some of the qualification criteria on the screen there. There's 3 steps in this visa process, as you can see on the screen. The first is that the employer needs to be accredited. Now, if they're not accredited, we can actually help them become accredited, but that is an important first step if you're going to get a visa, is that they do need to be accredited.
Yeah.
The employer then does the job check. That's where they demonstrate their labour market testing. And if they're successful in the job check, they'll be issued with a job token, which they can then give to you. It's an electronic token. And that's when you can apply for your AEWV, your work visa, which is usually valid for between 3 to 5 years.
Great. So it's quite a good option in the fact that the employer and yourself are working together in a partnership to both be able to get you this visa.
That's right. And we'll be helping the employer, depending when they come to us, to make sure that the advertising is all acceptable, to make sure that we've got enough evidence to demonstrate your work experience, that type of thing.
Yeah, perfect. So can you also tell us about some of the more longer term options available?
Sure. So that's the work visa. And as I said, that you may well need to do a work visa first in order to be able to come to New Zealand. But also we're always looking to see what are the residence visa pathways that an applicant might have. And ideally, you know those from the outset so that you've got that longer term journey sort of planned in advance.
Sure.
Now there's under the employment routes, there are 2 main residence visa pathways. On the left-hand side of the slide, you've got the green list pathway. The green list is a list of specific roles in which there are an acknowledged shortage in New Zealand. And I'll come and talk about what some of those roles are in a minute. But yeah, there are 2 pathways under the green list. On the left, we have tier 1. So that's our most critical shortage, and that's a straight to residence path. You can actually apply for residence immediately upon receiving a job offer if you meet all the criteria. And then secondly, tier 2, we call that work to residence, and that's where you come in on the accredited employer work visa for 2 years, and then at the end of the 2 years you can apply for residence under the green list. And then on the other side we have our SMC pathway, which I can also talk about too. This next slide shows us some of the specific, well, not the specific roles, but the specific industry that we find our green list roles in. So under straight to residence on the left-hand side here, you can see roles in health, education, engineering, and the other industry sectors mentioned there. Now, it's not just any role in that sector, it's specific roles within that sector. So we could do a deep dive with someone who's interested. You might have a job offer as a mechanical engineer or as a nurse, and we can look at whether your specific role is on the green list. But it gives you a flavour for the types of roles that may be. And then on the right-hand side, work to residence. So that's our 2 years of work experience and then apply for residence. We do also have, not listed here, but there is also a pathway for those in the care sector and those in the transport sector, so truck drivers. There is also a specific pathway for them, which might also apply.
Right, so some quite good options there. But for those that are perhaps not on the green list, can they still get residency, or is it only a work visa?
Yeah, sure. We've got a slide here which talks about the skilled migrant category. So don't worry if you don't have a green list role. As I said, very specific roles. You may well still have a pathway to residence under the skilled migrant category. Now, the way that the skilled migrant category works is that you need to be able to claim 6 points, and you can claim those points in the skill category and then through skilled work experience in New Zealand. Now, under that top level of the skill categories being from income, qualification or registration, you can only claim points in one of these 3 areas. So you couldn't, for example, claim 3 points for your bachelor's degree and 3 points for your median wage pay rate. You can only claim it once. So what that's telling us is that for a lot of people, they're going to need to do some level of work experience in New Zealand. You can also see from the slide, though, is that if you don't have a degree qualification or higher, and you also aren't in a role that can be registered, and our registration roles tend to be our professional roles like doctors, lawyers, accountants, engineers, then you are probably going to need to earn a significantly high number in order to qualify under this category. And so median wage is used in New Zealand to dictate a lot of eligibility for visas. And at the moment, the median wage is $33.56. So we can see that you would need to be earning 1.5 times that, which is roughly $50 an hour, to get 3 points, and then do that for 3 years to get 3 points. So it's a pretty high income threshold. Now, it might be that you can get a job offer that pays $40 an hour, and you can come in and do a couple of years' work and then get pay rises up to 50. So sometimes there's some quite long-term planning involved to be able to see, to be able to map out a pathway to residents under skilled migrant category. But there is this pathway. Green list or skilled migrant gives people a couple of different options, and hopefully captures a lot of people to be able to make the transition from work visa to residence.
Yeah, fantastic. There's a few options there. So what are some of the most common mistakes that you see people make at the very sort of start of their application journey?
I think one of the most common mistakes we see is that people haven't got good advice from the outset and planned how they're going to make their visas. So as I said, some of these things are very detailed. There's some time constraints or wage constraints involved. And so if you haven't got that good advice from the outset, you may not have put things in place to make sure that you can convert to residence within the time frame that your work visa allows. So we're always working with our clients to have the end goal of residence in sight, to keep that in mind with any kind of work that we're doing to make sure that we can secure them towards that residence goal. There can be a real art to making a quality application. So we like to talk about helping our clients make an application that's decision ready. We don't want our clients to have to gather all sorts of paperwork. We want the right paperwork that's going to be able to help a visa officer determine that visa really quickly. And sometimes if you put not enough in, that will slow things down. But if you put too much in, that can lead an immigration officer down a line of inquiry that we didn't want them to go, that can slow it down or even lead to a decline. So getting good advice, particularly if you have health or character issues, even minor ones, from the beginning is the key to a good smooth journey.
Keeping it a bit stress-free as well.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So wrapping up, that would be being prepared really early, getting all your documentations, seeking advice from professionals as early as possible, making every application to employers in New Zealand as strong as you can, because you might only get one chance with them. So that's fantastic. I think that pretty much wraps up everything for today, which has been so amazing. Thank you so much for all your advice, Rachel. Yeah, it's great to have you, and there's been a lot of things that we've tackled that people have asked me on a day-to-day basis. So if you need more information from Rachel or myself, and if you are serious about moving to New Zealand, then if you look at the link below, click on the link and you'll get some further information from us, or drop a comment and we will try to answer your queries. So thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.